So this week we're talking about extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. And this reminds me of something from Korea where I taught for 2 years. And some of my highest level students, they had to deal with topics that would show a professor or teacher in America or in the UK, wherever they were applying for college or university, that their English level was high enough that they would be able to handle coursework in that language in all sorts of subjects, math, science, psychology. And in psychology, we had this similar topic come up, not in terms of the workplace, but more in terms of the teaching environment. But the concept is very similar. So, what I had them do was something like this. I had them draw a simple chart in the middle, and though we didn't label it the same, I'm labeling it this way for the purpose of this video. And so when I start with something like a positive extrinsic motivator, what I'm talking about is something that I, your boss, your teacher can do to you that's positive, right? So for example, you earned a B plus, but I thought your work was good, and on top of that, you're a good student, and I might curve your grade a little bit and give you the credit, give you that A, you know? Same thing, if you work hard and you're doing a good job, I might double your salary. Probably not double, but give you a raise of some sort. In other words, it's something I can do that motivates you. These are effective because they show that the teacher, the boss, whoever the authority figure is rewarding you and is acknowledging your hard work. On the other hand, I could do the opposite. I could negatively motivate you, basically punish you. For example, you earned an A, but maybe your work was late, so you get a B plus, or your handwriting was sloppy. So again, there's a punishment there. It's something that will motivate you to do better in the future. Same thing, you could be making a good salary, but you're lazy, you have bad reviews, you're not getting work done on time, and I could cut your pay as a consequence. These might motivate you to do better in the future. They may discourage you, but the point remains that I am doing something to you. Likewise, we have the extrinsic, but we also have the opposite, the intrinsic, those things that come from within. So if I come to work in a good mood and I'm positive, this becomes infectious. It creates a virtuous feedback loop. It creates a virtuous cycle. My boss is in a better mood. He spreads that to the team, and all of us together spread it to the customer. I work in healthcare, and so in my case, a lot of times I'm not talking about a customer, I'm talking about a patient. And even if I have to deliver bad news to a patient or discuss something that maybe is uncomfortable for them, if I remain positive and upbeat and pass that on to the patient will feel better about the outcome. And one thing we do know scientifically is that customers or patients who have a positive experience heal faster, feel better, use fewer pain meds, etc. And that all comes from the virtuous cycle, right? Something that I intrinsically feel and it's infectious, it spreads to others. Likewise, I can have intrinsic negative motivators. I could have fear, anxiety, just be tired or bitter or angry about something bad that's happened. And that crummy mood can infect my boss. Maybe he becomes a little more snappy towards our teammates and acts a little more rudely, which makes them feel bad. And all this passes on to the patient or the customer who has now a worse experience with our business, a worse experience with our practice, a worse experience with the healthcare process. In all of these situations, the same thing remains, namely that there's a motivator. The motivator can come from outside, it can come from within, but they meet together and they create motivation, they create aptitudes to try hard or slack off. They create sorts of different tools. In terms of which ones do I think are the best, in terms of extrinsic positive, obviously pay is ideal. You can't always raise people's pay, but when you can, it's a great motivator. Extrinsic negative, you want to be a little bit cautious about using these. Though cutting someone's pay might inspire them to do harder work if they want to get back up to that pay level, it can also just cause them to become disaffected. Likewise, with positive intrinsic, you can come to work with a great positive attitude and be willing to spread that to everyone, but your first customer is kind of hard to deal with, or maybe your coworker is a little bit rude to you. And so now suddenly your intrinsic motivation has decreased, right? You become a little more jaded, a little more bitter about the day. And those are things that you have to regulate within yourself. As far as a leader goes, it's important for a leader to keep that positive extrinsic in mind. And that can be, hey, good job today, keep it up, good work, and those sorts of extrinsic motivators can lead to better intrinsic motivation. So hopefully it sort of explains the connection between all of them. And I think that's important, especially as it relates to running a company or interacting with a customer or interacting with someone who's a subordinate.